Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a Tuesday night edition of Trailblazer Volleyball Week. Today, we have Dixie State University going up against in-state opponent Westminster College. And the Trailblazers are first time back home in quite a while. For those of you that remember, their last home game goes all the way back to September 21st, where it was a clean sweep over South Dakota Mines. But since then, it has been a back and forth battle for the Lady Trailblazers, going an even 2-2 over the last 4 road games. And the one loss that really hurt this team over that break was against Adams State, which was last week Friday, where they fell in 4 sets, 3-1, and that one hurt for this Dixie State squad, but bounced back the very next day against Fort Lewis, where they did win in 4 sets and came away with an even 500 record over the 4-game stretch. Today, or this week, kind of a rare week for Dixie State. They have 3 games this week, and all of them are at home. And you know Coach Robin Felder and the rest of the Trailblazer squad, they want and they have to go 3-0 this week to stay in contention in the top of the RMAC, because if you look at the RMAC standings right now, they're all the way down in 5th place in the conference, and that is not the position that you want to be in. I mean, I know we're only 6 games into conference play right now, and they have a 4-2 record, but they do have Colorado School of Mines coming up on this week on Saturday, and they are currently 2 spots ahead of Dixie State, so that's definitely a game that Dixie State has circled on their schedule as a heads up. But tonight, it's all about the Griffins from Westminster, who come into today's matchup with a 3-11 record overall, so kind of a slow start to the season for them so far, 0-6 in RMAC play, and experience isn't lacking from this Westminster side. I mean, they have a pretty older roster for the most part. They only have 1 freshman on the team, so maybe just a lot of learning from last year's squad going into this year's squad. But you know they're going to come with their A game. You know, they kind of want that bragging rights of, best team in Utah. And so far Dixie State has had, success against Westminster. So, I mean, can Westminster turn it around tonight, or can Dixie State, go back on track with their winning ways against Westminster? And we're going to see that in about just a couple minutes from now. And Dixie State, a couple of injuries on their side. I mean, Lizzie Clark, I see on the bench over there for Dixie State. Looks like an apparent right knee injury. Must have happened over the road trip of last week. And, of course, Abby Smith has been out all season long. But that should not stop Dixie State, however. 9-5 overall, 4-2 in conference play, and looking to make that 5-2 in conference play. And, of course, for the Trailblazers, as always, Meg Trainer leading the way as the top scorer for Dixie State, but not by much, as Toa Faleo right behind her, just by half a point each. As for the Griffins, their leading scorer coming into this one, Dixie State has their eye on number 12, Audrey Green, who leads the team with 189 points. So 60 more points than Dixie State. In the starting lineups for the Griffins of Westminster College, number 2, Hannah Stearman. Number 5, Aggie Reese-Olson, the senior. Taylor Harvey getting the start for the Griffins. Katie Jaycox also getting the starting job for the Griffins. Amber Lamborn, another senior for this squad. Audrey Reed, as I mentioned earlier, getting the start. And Lydia Miller getting the start for the Griffins as well. And the Griffins are coached by head coach Karen Moore, her first season as the Griffins head coach. And the starting lineups for the Dixie State Trailblazers, as always, number 1, Jordan Nelson. Cy Collins getting a start in tonight's matchup. number 6, Lauren Gamble. Of course, we're going to call her name a lot throughout tonight's matchup. Just got voted one of the top defenders in the RMAC. Number 8, Sydney Johnson getting the start for the Trailblazers tonight. Number 9, Miranda Ekblad getting the start tonight. And number 10, the libero, McKenna Nelson, sister of Jordan Nelson, getting the start tonight. And number 19, Toa Faleo, getting the start. And the Trailblazers are coached by head coach Robin Felder in her 8th season as head coach for Dixie State. And we're going to step aside for 2 minutes while we honor our nation's anthem. And we'll be right back on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the Trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
We are here inside the Student Activity Center on the campus of Dixie State University, just moments before first serve between tonight's matchup between Westminster and Dixie State University. The two schools, both from the state of Utah, going for bragging rights here tonight. But Dixie State has that history of coming out on top the last few years, and Westminster looking to change that around tonight. And to start things off for the Griffins is number 10, Amber Lambourne. And away we go. Dixie State, the first chance of the game right here, Johnson. And that's going to find Green, who hits it right towards Nelson, but Johnson going to finish it up. And that one coming off the hand of Audrey Green, just out of reach of Johnson. And that one just inching in on the far side. Here's Lambourne. Gonna finish with Faleo, and yep. We're gonna call her name a lot here tonight, and when she connects on those and gets the power behind it, I'm just gonna say good luck to the opposing team. It's gonna finish with Green again, and Faleo right there, nice dig. And Nelson right there. Gonna finish with Collins. And just an easy ball over there. Dixie State, quick attack, and that one I believe is I think Green was there to make the play. It was Green and Harvey. And Reese Olson now for the Griffins. Backdoor to Collins. And blocked initially and keeping it alive. Collins, big swing, and Collins is denied at the net. And I think it was Harvey once again. And Harvey just one of 3 players for the Griffins standing over 6 feet. So Dixie State has the height they want in this matchup. And another quick attack, and Gamble this time is denied at the net once again. And the Griffins now up 4-1 here in the first set. Reese Olson. And Johnson with the finish, and that will go off the hands of Green, and Johnson stops the run from Westminster. McKenna Nelson now for Dixie State. You start with Green and end with Green. Big swing from Johnson, and they're going to give a setting error to Jordan Nelson. So Green now. Right to Johnson, and Nelson. A little bit of redemption right there as she bounces back from that error just a point ago and just flicks that one right over the net. Hannah Waddell now. Big swing blocked at the net. Another chance right here for the Griffins. And that one's just blooped over, and Lydia Miller getting the kill for her squad, and that one kind of just went right over that front wall. No power necessary. Stearman. And near side attack, and Nelson to Johnson. Perfect connection on that one as the front wall couldn't get there in time, and that one goes out of play off the defenders. Green handles it nicely. And left-handed hit. Golden chance right here for the Trailblazers, and Faleo comes through again and off the hands of Deaconich. So Dixie State down early, finds himself back in it. And that serve from Johnson sailing out of bounds, so a free point for the Griffins. And a different lineup for the Trailblazers. No Meg Trainer in the starting lineup. So that's a new sign. And maybe Coach Felder changing some strategy up just a little bit. Not too sure. It's going to finish with Faleo and switching the course of attack. And there's Green right to Nelson. And finish with Faleo again, and that one is going to miss just outside. So here's Jaycox now. Low serve, but Dixie State handles it. And quick attack, and pancake save from Ferris, but miscommunication between the sisters, and that one's going to be a point for Westminster. Right to Ferris. And Faleo trying to improvise on that one. Bounces on the net and out of play. And Coach Felder takes her first timeout We'll keep it right here. 10-5. Westminster out in front in Dixie State. You know, not their usual starting lineup that we've all been seeing all season long. Maybe Coach Felder trying to work some different lineups out, see what works, see what doesn't. And that's where we're at so far, 10-5. Neither team making a ton of errors. And Westminster has to be feeling good right now, up 10-5. And main thing for them is they can't lose focus, because we've seen this Dixie State team come from behind and make a run. I've seen runs 10-1 at some games throughout this season. So Dixie State definitely has that resiliency and that determination to come back from trailing down early in sets. And Westminster is going to have to do their best to try and prevent that. So fresh out of the timeout. And we are ready to resume play. Jaycock still at the helm. And back door, and that's Ekblad. And Dixie State strikes first out of that timeout. Right in the middle where nobody was even close to where the ball landed. So good awareness from Ekblad. Bending run, and bending run is denied. And there they are, the Twin Towers. Toa Faleo and Lauren Gamble. And those two are a wreck up front. And good luck trying to get the ball past those two. And a serving ace for Ekblad. Hit right towards Stearman, but just couldn't get both arms on the ball. So 3 straight points out of the timeout. And it looks like it's going to be a fourth, and that's back-to-back aces for Ekblad. Dixie State always so good coming out of a timeout, as they look to tie things up here, and maybe curse of the commentator right there, as that one sails beyond the line. So Lydia Miller now. Right to Ferris, and it's going to finish with Gamble, and she got way up there and misfired. Gamble standing at 6'2", so when she gets up there, it's hard to block those. And that serve sailing out of play, and good call from the Dixie State back line. And Jordan Nelson. Setting up Faleo, and Faleo. And back and forth, ping pong we go, and Green fires it, but great return. And another chance right here. And here's Green, right over that front wall, and Dixie State keeps it alive. Another chance here for the Griffins. And long rally here, and Green is denied, and it's gonna fall. And after that lengthy rally, Dixie State finally comes through, and I believe Collins was there to make the play. Dixie State looking to tie it up right here. And Green has to play it safely, and Camel throws it right back. And Nelson playing it safe and playing it off the net, and they keep it alive. And that one off the hand of Green. And out of play once again, and tied at 12 all. 7-2 run here for Dixie State. And back-to-back, nice solid rallies. And that one, I believe, it looked like it might have bounced off the head of Collins, so not much you can do about that. And subs for both teams. And we're going to finish with Faleo, and Faleo fires it in there, and watch out. Hits it at the highest point of the ball that she can get with her hops and makes no mistake about it. And that one coming off the cannon of Green, and Nelson got a hand on it, just couldn't keep it in play, but great effort to try and make something happen. It's going to find Faleo. And quick attack from the middle. And Gamble. Nelson pops it back up. It's going to finish with Collins, and Collins showing off her hops and getting the point for Dixie State, and bouncing just off that front wall. And I believe Green was the first one to get there, but just a little bit too slow. Here's Green again. And that's Johnson with the diving save, and it's going to finish with Collins, and Collins hitting it light. And back and forth we go once again. Nelson almost catching Westminster off guard, and that one is stuffed at the net, and I believe it was Collins once again with the defensive stop. So 3 really good rallies here from both sides, and Dixie State takes the lead 15-14. And dangerous chance right here, and Johnson capitalizes. And a timeout for Coach Moore and the Griffins. And we'll take a 30-second timeout, and we'll be back right here on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
And welcome back inside the Student Activity Center on a Tuesday night. Doesn't happen very often. But for this in-state battle tonight between Dixie State and Westminster, a Tuesday night is necessary. One of the rare weeks that Dixie State will have 3 games in a 5-day period. So busy, busy week for the Lady Trailblazers, as they're up 16-14 right now in the first set. And since that timeout that Coach Felder took earlier in the first set, they have gone on an 11-4 run. And low serve from Nelson. And I believe that's the 3rd ace now for Dixie State in this set alone. High rainbow serve. Started with Green, is going to finish with Green. And Faleo. And Green getting that one through the defense. And that one, I believe, split between Faleo and Nelson. Right in between the two defenders. And here's Green. And good improvisation between Nelson and Ekblad in getting a point out of what seemed like was about to be an ace. So here's Waddell. And backdoor finish. Another chance here for the Griffins. And big swing, but Nelson's right there. And blocked at the net, and Sid Johnson leading the way for Dixie State. And Deaconich trying to make something happen, but Johnson was in a better spot. And now Jordan Nelson comes flying in, trying to make a play happen, and it's amazing how some of these girls, they dive, 3-4 feet and hit that ground hard, and they just get up and walk off like it's nothing. We don't give them enough credit. And Ekblad with the bending run and fires it in there. And Nelson just doing what she does best and setting up her teammates. And Coach Felder loves it. And low dipping serve. Another chance right here. Bending run over the front wall. And falling again for Ekblad. So back-to-back kills from Ekblad. And she's starting to heat up. Sub here for the Griffins. Jay Cox checks back in. Light serve, but popped up, and nobody was there. Looked like it was Ekblad that had the late reaction to the head, and the back wall came flying in trying to get it and just was in the opposite direction. So to find Faleo, and Faleo, no power needed. As she saw the space in the defense and just lightly hit it over that front wall. So 22-17 here in the first set of the night. And bending run, and that one coming off the hands of Simmons. And Simmons doesn't come through, and another timeout for Coach Moore, and we'll take a 30-second timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here in the Student Activity Center. It's the DSU Trailblazers.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
And welcome back, where it is game point 24-17. Dixie State looking to close out the first set. And Westminster trying to prevent that from going down one set early. And just some clearing up between the official and the scores table, it looks like. a slight pause in action. And everything's cleared up, and it looks like it was just a score issue. It's not game point. It's 23-17. And blocked at the line. Another chance here. Quick attack. And Gamble pops it up. That back wall came in again, and Ekblad trying to make a play from her knees. And not going away just yet. So here's Miller again. And dangerous chance right here. And going right at the scores table. So Westminster getting 2 straight points out of the timeout. And Dixie State has to be careful here. They can't let loose. And Faleo fires it in there, and yeah, no one's gonna stop that. Nobody in the conference could stop that baby. It was a major part of the team's success last year and continues to do the same here this season. And that one from Green splits that front wall and just out in front of Ferris. Lambourne now. And Gamble looking to end the set, and ends the set she does. And no power needed behind that. We'll take one last look off that front wall and in the middle of the defense. And that's where we are, 25-20. Dixie State takes the first set, and we are going to take a 90-second break. When we come back, some stats from that first set and more. Don't go anywhere. It's the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
Play Eric Amarola's Race Day Mix.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
You can achieve a lot using your imagination. I mean, I don't like to brag, but... Wait, who's that? And why is she all over these achievement awards? But with STEM, the sky's the limit. Shaboom! Use STEM to envision... Okay, I'm seeing it. Yeah. Invent...
Got any ideas?
I've got a few, actually. And create a better world.
Told you she's super smart.
If she can STEM, so can you. Find out more at She Can STEM.
Si los amas como para reaprender ecuaciones, para poder enseñárselas, entonces los amas como para visitar nhtsa.gov/protegidos y comprobar que van correctamente abrochados en el asiento trasero del auto.
Welcome back to the Student Activity Center, where Dixie State just took set 1 by a score of 25-20. In some stats from the Dixie State side. Leading the way in points in that first set was Miranda Ekblad. She had 7 points, and that includes 4 kills. But Jordan Nelson putting in some work, had 11 assists in that first set alone, and 4 digs as well. And her sister McKenna Nelson had 7 digs, as well as 2 assists. And for the Westminster side, leading the way And who other than Audrey Green, who has led the team all season long in scoring and continues to do that here tonight. So the game plan is to simply go through Audrey and see if she can come through and put the team on her back, but it may not be enough. And it looks like Meg Trainer now is on the court for the first time here tonight, and that will be a boost for Dixie State as well. So a busy weekend here for both sides, or I'm sorry, for Dixie State this weekend. They got 2 games, Friday and Saturday, and then of course football has a game this Saturday as well. So a lot of activities for the Trailblazers athletics coming up. And this is just the start of it.
Serving to start 10-2 for the Trailblazers, number 1, Jordan Nelson.
So set number 2 just about to start. And Jordan Nelson to start it off. And Green gets denied on the first attack. And I believe Gamble and Trainer were there on the stop, but it looked low either way. So Miller, it's going to finish with Green, and that one spun right off the hands of that front wall.
Now serving for Westminster, number 12, Audrey Green.
So here's Green. And dangerous chance right there, and Nelson maybe was trying to avoid the net. So a point for Westminster, and it's 2-1 here early. It's going to finish with Trainer, and Trainer putting some spin on it. And Westminster again. I believe it was Miller who's been the second option for the Griffins so far. Here's Green again. So Johnson. And Trainer's going to fire it in there. Johnson with the back row spike. And blocked, and the Twin Towers right there. Not going to get through them this time. And Gamble and Faleo. Just such a wreck up front. And Johnson, big swing, blocked initially. And Trainer will not be denied. And Reese Olson had a hand on it, but went straight up into the ceiling and came flying back down. So besides Faleo, I believe Trainer has one of the more stronger overhand hits on this team. And Dixie State catching a break as there was nobody in that back corner. And that one goes out of play. So 3 straight points for Dixie State. And that's going to be a point for Dixie State. And Westminster didn't know how to react to the ball off the ceiling as it did change trajectory. So 5-3 here in the second set. Gamble to start it off, backdoor, and Trainer. And nearly getting that one up, and I believe it was Faleo who almost had the pancake save. So Westminster stops the little run from the Trailblazers. Gonna finish with Trainer, and Trainer was denied at the net. And it looked like Miller was there to make the play. And setting up Johnson. And Johnson, a lot of top spin on that one, just out of reach from Stearman. Green to start it off, and quick attack. And lots of communication going on between these two squads. Both teams making themselves known on who's going to get what ball, and we got a rally here. And Green digs that one beautifully. And it looks like they're going to give a point to Dixie State. The nearest official said it was in, but the other two ruled it out. So a point for Dixie State, 7-5. So chance right here, Miller. So Trainer. And he's going to finish with Johnson, and it was denied, but it went out of play, so So 8-5 here in the second set, and Coach Moore and getting off the bench a little bit for the Griffins. And that serve inside, so a serving ace for Nelson. And a little bit of a run here for Dixie State, and hard to stop them once the train starts moving. And another serving ace for McKenna Nelson. And they quickly double up the Griffins 10-5 here. Here's Nelson again. Finished with Miller, and Faleo's right there. And they're going to say it was a net violation, and maybe Jordan Nelson just maybe slightly touched the net a little bit. Would have been a point for Ekblad as it fell to the ground, but Nelson touched the net first. So a serving error. And Meg Trainer now with her first serves here tonight. And that one had some curve on it, and it looked like a slider for just a second. That one kind of dipped right in front of that back line, and I believe it was Jay Cox who got fooled on that one. Right to Jay Cox again, and nearly back-to-back aces. And swinging over to Johnson, and they're going to give Trainer a set error. So Miller now. Low serve. Johnson keeps it alive and playing it safe. Another chance here for the Griffins. Bending run, goes straight in the air. And you're going to finish with Collins, and Miller keeps it up. So back and forth we go. And Ekblad with a bending run. Maybe didn't quite have the angle to slam it down. Instead, tries to just loft it over. And it's 12-8 here in the second set. And Faleo fires outside, and Westminster back in it, only trailing by 3. So Miller getting some work here at the serving side. So Johnson to Trainer. Collins comes flying in. And my, oh my.
Serving for Dixie State, number 8, Sydney Johnson.
So here's Johnson. Bending run and blocked, and Faleo had the hand on it, but out of play. So point for Westminster.
Now serving for the Griffins, number 10, Amber Lamborn.
Here's Lamborn. Gonna finish with Faleo, and off that front wall and goes flying back. And how helpful is it when your team has someone who can throw the hammer down like that? And coach has had to get out of the way from that one, and a serving ace for Ekblad. And Ekblad serve low, so a free point for the Griffins.
Serving for Westminster, number 5, Aggie Ruiz Olsen.
There'll be Collins right over that front wall. And Green blocked initially. And Green again. And that one out of play, hit from the outside of the net.
Now serving for Dixie State, number 1, Jordan Nelson.
Dixie State up by 5, and Nelson looking to extend that. So here's Green again. Swinging it back over to Faleo, and Faleo uses the finesse part of her game and gets it to fall. And a timeout for Coach Moore and Westminster, and we're gonna keep it here. So 17-11 here in the second set. Dixie State already taking set 1, 25-20, and looking to make this one a little bit more of a wider game than the first set. And Meg Trainer making her first appearance here in the second set, and she's made a difference, and she can serve, she can block, she can take, she can set, she can do it all. And I like to think of her as a wild card for Coach Felder. You know, you could put her anywhere. You know, front line, back line, outside hitter. I mean, you could put her anywhere and she'll be just as dominant at any position. So Coach Felder very fortunate to have a player like Meg Trainer for her squad. And for Westminster, Coach Moore, kind of the opposite of what Coach Felder has been showing. And a little bit of frustration, but you know, losing a set is going to make you a little bit frustrated. So no blame on her. So we are ready to resume play. And here we go. And Green, big swing, and Green gets it to fall and off the hands of Johnson. That one had some smoke on it, so hard to get a hand on it. Here's Green, low serve. And Gamble getting way up there, and it looks like Jay Cox was right there. Jay Cox standing at 5'10", and that's a little generous, but listed at 5'10", getting way up there to block Gamble. And Faleo fires it in there, and no chance, and That one goes straight towards the coaches of Dixie State. And that's Lambourne, who couldn't quite get it to fall in play. So Faleo finish with Miller. It's going to finish with Faleo, and a lot of topspin on it in the front wall. Got a finger on it. And just when you think she's about to fire it in there, she hits you with that changeup and just throws everybody off guard. And that's a dangerous feat that Faleo can bring to her game. And Trainer, back and forth between Trainer and Faleo, and throwing heaters out there. This was basketball, they'd be dropping dimes. And Faleo served short of the net, so 20-14 is the score here in the second set. So checking in for the first time today for the Trailblazers is Chase Daughtry. And backdoor to Johnson. And Trainer comes flying in and out of play. When that windup comes up from Trainer, I mean, more times than not it falls in, but sometimes just a little bit off of the aim, and that's what we just saw. Johnson blocked at the net, and looks like Sydney Simmons was there to make a play. So Hannah Stearman now. And big swing. And another chance here. And Miller, big swing. And back and forth we go. And Johnson comes flying in, and Johnson is gonna make it happen. It seemed like everybody on Dixie State had an attack opportunity there, and Johnson finally prevails. So 21-16 now. Gonna finish with Trainer. And Ekblad comes through from that middle, that front middle position, off that front line, and Coach Moore once again takes a timeout for the Griffins, and we'll take one as well. We'll be back in 30 seconds here on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel, someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun's gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
Welcome back to the Student Activity Center. 22-16 the score here in set number 2, and Dixie State looking to take a commanding 2-0 lead. And everything going their way so far. And we've seen a lot of heaters from the Dixie State side, from Trainer, from Faleo, even Johnson. And as a defensive side for Westminster, how do you stop that? I mean, it's one thing when one player, throwing heaters at you, but now you have 3 of them you have to worry about. I mean, just very hard to game plan for. And that attack from Simmons short of the net. So a substitution for the Griffins. Katana Montford. A diving effort from Nelson. An attack right here from Miller, and Miller showing off that, hey, I have a cannon too. Try stop me, and comes through for the Griffins. So here's Jaycox. And Johnson going to switch up her motion. And another chance right here. Trainer tipped out the line, and the dig goes into the net. So game point here in the second set. And looking to close this one out is Sierra Roberts. Low serve, and that one had some bend on it. And Miller coming through for the Griffins as that one just kind of ricocheted off that front wall.
Now serving for Westminster, number 14, Lydia Miller.
So here's Miller. And you're going to finish with Johnson, and Johnson is going to close out set number 2, 25-18. So Dixie State goes into the break with a 2-0 lead. And we will take a 2-minute break. And when we come back, we'll give you some more stats and analysis. Before the start of set number 3, don't go anywhere. We're inside the Student Activity Center. It's the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
For over a century, Dixie State University has been shaping the trailblazers of tomorrow by providing a culture of active learning, active life. With a paradigm of real-world experience mixed with cutting-edge technologies and rich traditions, we provide one of the most affordable educations in the West set against the most stunning backdrop on the planet.
Where do you find the titans of classical music in St. George? Classical music on Radio St. George 100.3 FM. Where do you find the legends of jazz? Evenings on Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I bring the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
Welcome back to, I guess you could call it halftime of tonight's matchup between Dixie State and Westminster, where Dixie State taking a commanding 2-0 lead. And it has been all Dixie State so far. And your leaders for Westminster after 2 sets. Looks like Audrey Green still on top for the Griffins with 8 points. And Reese Olson leading the way with 11 assists for Westminster. And for Dixie State side, if you guessed Toa Faleo as your leading scorer after 2 sets, you'd be right. She has 9 kills so far after 2 sets, and Jordan Nelson just all over the place with 19 assists after 2 sets. And only a junior this year, but after next year, I gotta say, she's been a starter since her freshman year. And I would not be surprised if Jordan Nelson makes a run for the all-time set leader in Trailblazer history, in Dixie State history. I mean, this is her 3rd year starting now, and she has been the main setter the last 2 seasons, and more of the same here in this season as well. So would not be shocked if when it's all said and done after next season that Jordan Nelson could be the all-time leader. I mean, it's not often you get a 4-year starter at the collegiate level, and Jordan Nelson has been nothing but great for Coach Felder so far in her career here.
Washington Community Center, Wilkinson Electric, and the Science Eye Institute.
The Nelson sisters also lead Dixie State with 9 digs each. And McKenna Nelson has 3 aces, and Ekblad also has 3 aces. And no aces for Westminster. Dixie State returning the ball very well, not letting much come through. So just moments away from the start of the 3rd set. And looks like it could be Jordan Nelson once again.
So we're going to start set 3 for Westminster, number 5, Aggie Reese Olson.
So Reese Olson to start off this set. And Faleo with the finesse once again.
Now serving for the Trailblazers, number 19, Toa Faleo.
So Dixie State on the board first. And a serving ace for Faleo. And Dixie State starting right off where they ended. And low serve this time of the net. And Faleo has improved her serving significantly. For those of you who kept up with Dixie State last year, every time she was up to serve, she would always get subbed out, but not this year. She has improved in that category significantly.
Now for the Trailblazers, number 10, McKenna Nelson.
And here's Nelson. And Jay Cox with a quick attack. And that one bounced off the face of Ekblad, and nobody could be there to return that over. And Westminster back on the scoreboard. So Lambourne now, the new libero for Westminster, and Trainer with some height on that one and fires it down. So Sierra Roberts and Cy Collins checks in for Dixie State. And a quick attack from Simmons. And we've seen Westminster try to do that a couple of times here so far. hasn't really worked, but that time it did. So 4-3, Dixie out in front here in the third set. And Collins gets stuffed at the net. And it looked like it was Simmons again. So Montfort now. And Johnson, back-to-back stuffs now for the Griffins. They're timing their jumps perfectly now as they regain the lead here. And that serve just inside the line. And Montfort getting it done. As that back line for Dixie State called it off, and they almost capitalized on it, but and that's 2 aces in a row now for Montfort. And that one, a little bit of a rainbow serve, but had the dip on it and caught Dixie State off guard. So 7-4, Griffins on top. And that serve is too long, so good call from the Dixie State side. And here's Johnson. And bending run from Simmons. Nelson's right there. Back door to Collins, and Collins, Green's right there. And Miller. It's going to find Collins again. Collins put in a bunch of spin on it, and that one just kind of rolled off the fingertips from Reese Olson. And here's Miller. Swinging it back over to Faleo. Rolls off the net for just a second. And it's going to find Miller. Blocked initially. Ekblad. It's going to finish with Faleo, and Faleo fires it in there and off the hands of Lambourne. So tied at 7 apiece. And swing from Ekblad, and Ekblad finds that back corner, nobody there. And good awareness from her. Here's Johnson again. And quick attack from Montfort, and Montfort, just a freshman, but knows that veteran move. So Johnson. And quick attack from Ekblad, and Ekblad again comes through. So here's Green to finish it off, and that one was tipped. The officials didn't call it, but it looked like it was tipped at that front line. So back door to Collins, and Collins just was not right from the beginning, as that one falls harmlessly out of bounds. So 10-9. Westminster on top. And a left-handed hit from Faleo that time. And blocked at the net, and Gamble right there. So Trainer and Jordan Nelson check back in. So 10 all here. It's going to finish with Green. And it's going to finish from Johnson, and Johnson trying to hit that one from the back line and short of the net. So subs for the Griffins. And Reese Olson. So Johnson is going to finish with Faleo. And a set error. And even if it wasn't, Dixie State was right there to make the stop. So this third set a lot closer than the first two sets, 11 all. So here's Green, tipped at the line. Backdoor to Trainer. And off the ceiling, and Trainer with the kill. Here's Faleo. And it's going to find Green. Popping it up. And it's going to find Trainer. And Trainer finds that opposite corner. Looked like it might have been out of play for just a second, but perfect accuracy. So quick attack from Simmons. And Gamble comes flying in from the middle and gets it to fall. So coming at you from all different directions, Dixie State mixing up their point of attack, and very hard for Westminster to adjust to that. So Johnson, big swing. Another chance here. Trainer, big swing, and that one's going out of play off the deflection. So 5 straight points for Dixie State, and a timeout for Coach Moore and the Griffins. And we'll take a timeout as well. We'll be back in 30 seconds right here on the DSU Trailblazer Volleyball Network.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
And welcome back inside the Student Activity Center. Dixie State currently holding on to a 2-0 lead over the Griffins of Westminster, trying to take home the bragging rights for this state battle. Westminster, of course, from the Salt Lake area. And Dixie State holding on to a 15-11 lead. And the biggest difference in this game, if you look at the stats, is the hitting percentage from both sides, just 8% hit percentage from Westminster, but Westminster able to get that kill to go down as that one off the hands of Faleo and hit the speaker on the roof. And Dixie State hitting nearly 21%. And that's the biggest difference. And back-to-back points now for Westminster. And here's Green. And gonna set up Faleo. it's going to set up Johnson. Johnson gets it to fall. Good rally there for just a second. And Nelson now. And low serve. Blocked initially. Another chance here for the Griffins. And backdoor to Trainer. Trainer hits and fires in that opposite corner. And Trainer does that just as well as anybody I've seen. Out of all the opponents this year, I mean, Trainer just puts it in the opposite corner more times than not, and very rarely gets an error on her part. So 18-13 now here in the third set. And you got to find Miller right over that front wall. Johnson's right there. So quick attack from the middle. Dixie State's right there. And good rally here and blocked and inside the line. And it looked like Trainer was there. But did I mention she could block too? I mean, there's got to be something she can't do, but proving me wrong tonight. So Maggie Sala checks in for the Griffins for the first time tonight. And dangerous chance right here, and who else? Trainer once again. And a timeout for Coach Moore and the Griffins, and we'll keep this one right here, 20-13. The score here in the third set, and Dixie State, everything going their way so far. Trainer stepping up her game and just all over the place tonight. And it has been somewhat of a breeze, if you want to call it that, for Dixie State. I mean, first set of the game, Coach Felder came out with a different lineup and then gradually changed back to her, I guess you could say, her go-to lineup. And it has been nothing but Dixie State's way ever since. So Westminster trying to still get their first win of the season in conference play. And Dixie State trying to move up in the conference, sitting in 5th right now. But if I didn't tell you that, you wouldn't have guessed that based on their performance tonight. So about ready to resume play out of that timeout, and it wouldn't shock me if Dixie State just went on a 5-0 run to end this one. And curse to the commentator right away, and that serve goes out of play. So 20-14, and Lambourne. And swinging run, good setup from Nelson to Ekblad. And Ekblad finding that back left corner where splitting the two defenders. So Sierra Roberts checks back in, and for the first time tonight, Ashton Ochoa checks in for Dixie State, and that serve from Roberts going out of play. So Katana Montfort now to serve for Westminster. Ekblad right there. And stuffed at the line. Then Johnson changing course of attack and gets it to fall. And we've seen that from Johnson a lot this year. She'll be hitting from the outside and just completely switches the point of attack. Almost looks like it's going to roll on the net and just squeezes inside. And off the ceiling, and it looked like it hit the ground, but the officials keep it alive. And Ochoa fires it in there. And my, oh my. Dixie State sure has some power behind it. And start the bus chants. Looks like the baseball team right in front of me. So not game point just yet. Student section really large here tonight for a Tuesday night. And Faleo is going to get that one to fall and off the hands of Montford. So game point here in the third set. Dixie State looking to bring out the brooms. Ekblad looking to close it out. And Westminster barely keeps it alive. And Green blocked, and this one is not over just yet. Audrey Green keeps it alive for the Griffins, 24-17. So Stearman now. Faleo and Gamble. And Green to finish it off and blocked, and that one splits Gamble and Ochoa. So back-to-back points now on game point for Westminster. So Faleo to Roberts, backdoor to Ochoa, and Ochoa is gonna come through and end this match tonight, 25-18. And Dixie State ends the night on a clean sweep, 3-0. 25-20, 25-18, and 25-18. As for Dixie State, they improved to 10-5 on the season, 5-2 in RMAC play. And as for the Griffins, they fall to 3-12 on the season and 0-7 in RMAC play. For Dixie State, your leading scorer tonight is Miranda Ekblad it's actually Toa Faleo. She leads the way with 14 points. And Jordan Nelson, 26 assists. 26 assists in 3 sets, and that's got to go along with 11 digs. I mean, it's got to be between her and Faleo, but I mean, Faleo does have 9 digs. I mean, if I had to give out my game ball, I probably would give it to Faleo. And, you know, her impact from those outside spots and with her power behind those hits, it's no wonder why she's one of the most fierceful hitters in all of the RMAC. So game ball tonight goes to Toa Faleo. So if you missed tonight's game, don't worry. There's 2 more coming up this weekend, and the next one is on Friday at 6 p.m. right here inside the Student Activity Center against University of Colorado Springs. So be there for that one. Pack this house up. And for myself, James Guerin, as well as everyone else here at CEC, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys Friday night right here. Have a great night, guys. Aloha.